Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed and the market hours update for Thursday, October 9th. And the theme for this video is going to be coiling up. I think that we might be, pulling back a little bit before we continue higher, but, we'll have to see. Maybe not. Maybe we get, Jack in the Box in the face and we keep going down. I don't know. But yeah, I've got a few tickers on the list here that I'm interested to go over. One of them is Rivian. I might be doing a video on them tomorrow, maybe looking at some of the options data. And the reason why they're on the list is because I had an alert at $13 and we did cross below that. I do have some doodles up here that we kind of followed, but we kind of, didn't. And, we didn't go as high, didn't go or went lower. So I think that's an interesting one, some levels to talk about. Also, very curious to talk about Neo. Maybe that is actually going to be breaking out. I think that there's some interesting things about that, but maybe it's, getting exhausted at the top. Maybe some options data will reveal what's going on there. And then I did see a post on Webull, and that could be suggesting that there is a bounce in store, or that there has been a bounce. But what's a sign that it could continue? We'll look into that. And then I also did want to touch on Tilray real quick. I think I got it pulled up over here. Let's see. Yeah, I've got the video right here posted on the channel, and I might actually include a link in the chat so you guys can, check out the post. There's also a poll that'll go over a minute. And hey, John, how's it going? See you in there. And yeah, so this Tilray video, I posted it a couple days ago. It was clips taken from one of these live streams, and then I did a video on it going over the following day's options data, and or data from that day that we had the data available to us the following morning. And I talked about it going from $1.50 to $2, and Tilray is above to actually hit a high so far today of $2.32. But could be, pulling back to fill this gap. I believe earnings, were today for Tilray, but yeah, nearly got to 242, which is a level that I had apparently talked about. But yeah, the low before it, this kind of frustrates me a little bit. I placed an order for just 100 shares, nothing crazy, and also a limit call option, a buy, but that didn't get filled, and it was just for a day, so I let it fade away. But with this, we can see that the low on October 6th, so I believe that was, maybe the day after I did that video, or a couple days after. When did I put out that video? This was from 3 days ago. It's only got 90 views, so less than 100. But, spot on with that, going from 150, although, I had a limit order buy at 150. Didn't get filled because the low was 151. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should do limit buy order at 153. Whatever. It is what it is. And, but that would have been a nice, 33% swing, which I did talk about in that video. So that's super cool. And also, maybe if I pull up my X feed here, some junk might pop up, stuff that I've liked. So don't judge. But one thing, it's at the top, so I don't have to be ashamed of anything. But Unusual Whales had posted this. Look at this. Tilray has seen large spikes in net call premiums leading up to this morning's earnings report. And so I had talked about in that video. These Tilray contracts opened at 16 cents and saw a high of 65 cents today. So that's a pretty big swing because each one of those contracts, 16 cents doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 16 cents times 100 shares per contract is $16, going up to 65 bucks plus. And, so that was a pretty nice trade. And you can see Tilray flow and market tide right on Unusual Whales. And so I already like that, but since I'm talking about it now, I will repost it to share that info. But yeah, I've kind of gone over those tickers real briefly. I will dive deeper into these ones over here. But one thing, I always forget to mention this at the beginning, but coming back to the posts here, I did do a GameStop Power Pack poll last night. I actually did 2 of them, and I took a screenshot of the thumbnail so you can see it there. Side by side with this poll In the link to the posts there, also, in the description of this video, you can vote on the next power packs that I will open. Yesterday, it was voted that I open a gold pack, and I decided to also open a starter pack because GameStop kind of had this renewal of their starter packs, bigger and better. And so I opened a couple of those, maybe got some really good polls, so I'd encourage checking that out. And you can vote in this poll to see what I open next week. And something that I'm interested in doing with this is to actually start collecting so I can list cards on eBay via, I believe, Buy It Now from the PSA, I refer to as PSA portal, the GameStop Power Packs PSA portal. I think I refer to it as Power Packs portal, actually. So it'd be cool to collect and then to list and see if I can make more money doing that. But yeah, there are just 4 options here. And what I might also do, if I do collect, I might also withdraw some money so I'm not risking more and more and more as time goes on. I'm actually taking some risk off of the table. But yeah, I did want to point that out as I forgot to mention. And there is another, I'll come back to my next post. I did want to just touch on Bitcoin and Ethereum real quick. I did actually get a dip buy on my IBIT contract. I had trimmed a couple, and I'll buy a couple back below my average. But I'm just chilling on that, and I know that people are not necessarily interested in IBIT, so I just wanted to touch on Bitcoin here, coming down on the day 2.21%, and very interesting to think about what happened yesterday. Went up 1.61%, and Crypto Rover had actually talked about on Wednesdays Bitcoin tends to go up about 1%, so that is really interesting there. Does seem like we are pulling back to this 236, but we actually hit a higher high, so I would need to adjust that. So I could do that here, and we are potentially testing the 382 with the low of $119,713 so far today. But I'll adjust that on Saturday for Crypto Corner Sats Stacker, which is where I pointed out that I thought Bitcoin could be pulling back to around, 118,000. So like this yellow line here, finding some support there, not only with this trend line, but also with some retracement levels. And this is just a little snippet from Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. Hopefully I have the right page pulled up, because otherwise it's revealing of too much information. But for Bitcoin, for support for this upcoming Saturday, I do have 118 highlighted there. I did get some dip buys so far this week of RLC, which is iExec, and LRC, which is Loopring, and also did get a dip buy of Arbitrum, but Ed is blocking that right there. Yeah, so this is stuff that I go over every Saturday if you are interested in crypto. It's not necessarily that exciting because I'm just going over spreadsheets, charts, talking about levels, but that's kind of what the channel's all about, and it's served me well in stacking and getting some gains. But yeah, I'm not really worried about Bitcoin. I'm not really worried about IBIT, as I was talking about. And I did just want to mention Ethereum. Now we are below that 50 SMA, but I think it will be very interesting to see where we close. Hopefully we close above, and then that would be suggesting that bulls are stepping in, bulls still have control, and that this was a dip buying opportunity. And if we do close above that 50 SMA, that would be closing above around $4,400. So do look for that today. The data that I have here is on UTC or GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, also Zulu, all the same. And so we'll have to see where that closes at. And one thing I did want to point out, this is some very technical analysis that I did on X yesterday. Don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. He didn't buy the ETH dip. And the reason why I made this meme is because, Tom Lee was posting about, ETH is good. And he said that, we need more sick cat memes. So I kind of just made a little thread of cat memes, so I might be pulling those up whenever ETH is not doing anything, and I tried to get Grok to do a green candle going through the little kitten's poor head with red paint everywhere, but it didn't really work out. Just kind of like the meme with Bitcoin, do something. There's that, and this is going to be ETH holders. Right now, as always, happy to be up on my position. But yeah, coming back to the list, there's also one ticker that I didn't include in the list, but it did hit a level, and it's actually trading below the level, and that is GameStop, of course, ticker symbol GME. I had talked about 24 also. If I do remove the drawings, we can see that blue line a little clearer. That's the 50 SMA that is at 24.10. And we're below that. So I did get a fill on GameStop, I believe in the pre-market yesterday. Maybe it was the day, no, it was after hours the day before at 24. I don't have any more orders placed to buy. I'm trying to avoid doing contracts with GameStop, AMC, those, because I think it's just too risky, too speculative. Yeah, I mean, we are heading down, and I believe, I forget what it was. Maybe I'll pull it up here, the Webull information. And by the way, Monday is a holiday, but the market will still be open. And yeah, GameStop over here. What's Roaring Kitty's price? 23.41. I was thinking 23.42 just because of the 420. But yeah, that's his price. I think that we're getting towards, where there's going to be a lot of support. And that also, though, should note that some people have talked about it coming down to 22. So yeah, I think that we're in dip buy territory for GameStop, but it might take a while down here. So good to always be patient about that. And before I get into these tickers, I might just catch up on the chart. Just kind of want to dive into them a little more than I did get into. And so WRST, worst nightmare, I get it, is saying look at TE. So I will pull that up. I'll just go back over the chat in a minute. John Vigil, I was thinking Vogel, Vogel from, is it Superbad, or is it Fogel with an F? Anyways, what is his name? McLovin. That's right. And so anyways, John, sorry about that tangent. Mind checking out SOUN? I definitely will. And one thing about SOUN I might want to point out is that I did share this video from Flow Trading with Orlando, and he's somebody that you can also follow on X. SOUN was one of the ones that was requested, and so he doesn't include timestamps to all of them, but you could go over, skim through to find his analysis on it, whether that's the chart or options data. Yeah, he's a really good analyst. I like him a lot. And it may not be like, if you're not that interested in options, it's just, his sentiment or is the momentum in one way or the other. So I'd encourage checking that out. That's not one that I am participating in. And I think that what he talked about in it is that, it's kind of, that was the play over the past couple of years, and now it's just up a lot. So it's kind of, the risk is greater than the reward at this point. So I don't think he's in it. But I will note these in my notepad that I did mention GameStop. I will go over TE for worst nightmare, and then I'll come back to SOUN to look at the chart in a minute. Oh, and then John is also asking about Plug. Great recovery after opening up down 8% this morning. So that's great to hear. I'll look at that chart as well. And so I got that on my list. But yeah, I just wanted to, I think I believe Chestad was interested in Rivian, and I had drawn some of these doodles up here where, I'm not sure if I did this after the fact or not, the white, but we see, kind of this dip down to this uptrend, bounce, go higher. And I kind of laid out a couple different scenarios here where, the best scenario would be that it'd go up to around 17 and then pull back. The worst scenario is that it'd get rejected here around 15.30. And, come down, but then bounce. And so what happened is we kind of got a mashup of the green and the red, which I could perhaps doodle out. Actually, I'm not going to doodle it out because that'd just take too much time. And you can kind of imagine that, we went up more, so kind of like the green, but then we pulled back sooner. And since we didn't go as high as up here, we're actually going lower than down here. So this is kind of like a not such a great scenario. But some things to note about this, while I was a little bit encouraged here because I think the volume was dying down, we had these big wicks to the upside, 3 days not being able to get closes above because the highest close on September 24th was at 1579, could push above that, but couldn't hold and close above that. And so that was suggesting some weakness and that there was, I guess, less interest in being able to push that up. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of surprised that this did come down so fast with a gap here as well. Also trading below that 50 SMA, which is at 1347. And as I mentioned, it is now below 13. I had an alert for below 13 that went off. And that's just a signal, hey, maybe I want to look at it. Maybe it's at a discount. Maybe this is interesting. And so just quick looking at the chart, like I said, I'll probably do a video on this in the morning because I was up late. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I was up late, doing this Power Packs thing. And I've just been like super tired today because of it. But anyways, coming back to the chart here, the thing that stands out to me, and like I said, I will do a video in the morning going over some options data, but just looking at the chart here, is this trend line going back to the lows from April of 2024, tested multiple times. That is where I could see price coming down to at this point. I mean, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles in a row. And so maybe we get 3 more before it maybe finds a bottom around 1230, maybe 1250, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'll go over that in the follow-up video. Neo did just want to mention this. It is holding up here, better than, I was expecting. I had trimmed out of my position and now I'm no longer in it, although I do hold one call, so I am, bullish in that sense. I just didn't want to have so much capital locked up in shares that I might try to average down or, whatever. But what we're seeing here is that it's holding above these levels. It's holding above that neckline that you can see, and volume is pretty low. So that makes me think that, if we get a surge in volume, if this spikes up, this could then be pushing to above 8. But I should note that from the high on October 2nd, that high was 802, and we closed on that day, which was the highest close. We closed at 789, so 8 definitely seems like a very important level, tough to get above. And I think consolidating below it before we get a surge in volume could really push it higher. So I actually think this looks good. I'm kind of sad I'm not partaking heavily in it other than that one call contract. But at the same time, it's a Chinese company and, nothing against China, but just, I think that adds a layer of risk, concern, complexity to it. And so, it is what it is. But yeah, if people want me to do a follow-up on Neo, maybe I'll do it over the weekend. I do get some backlash on that, which is frustrating, but, if people, if it's helpful for some people, it's like the silent majority. I want to make videos for the silent majority, not the loud minority, who can be kind of jerks sometimes. And speaking of that, there is one thing, there's a comment that I haven't responded to. It's actually on the AMC video that I just did. I've gotten some really nice comments on that. Some people just actually, it's a different comment from that, but some people, we have differing opinions, differing views. And just, I really appreciate the people who can disagree with me or, just have a different opinion and do it respectfully. I really appreciate that because sometimes people can just be real jerks. And that's, it doesn't help anybody out. This is just, me, a fellow peer retail trader who just likes to make videos and talk about stocks. And so hopefully my perspective is helpful. But, like I said, I feel like majority of the time everybody's wrong, whether it's not being able to sell the exact tops, not being able to buy the exact bottoms. But we just got to, work with what we're seeing in the data. And sometimes if you don't feel completely convicted in it, then, maybe it's not good. But anyways, let's now move over to Webull. This is one I had just recently done a video on. I'm not going to pull it up, but talking about this being bearish, and that was I believe that video came out 2 days ago, and on that day, I think it came out before open maybe, price came down 6.64%. Then we saw this massive move down. So if we do just get a measurement from the top of the candle here to, let's see, the bottom, just lining it up, that box blocks it, but that's down 16%. We did see this nice bounce with volume stepping in. That's suggesting that, buyers, do want to push this higher. However, one thing that I should caution, this is somebody that I do refer to frequently on the channel, but Free Wyckoff's over on X. This is his info. If you guys are curious to follow him, he also does offer a Discord that you can pay to join for, on a monthly basis. And you just learn more about Wyckoff analysis, volume price action, or VPA. I think that he's a really good analyst. I haven't paid for his services, but I do like a lot of his tweets. But here, anyways, he says, here you go for bulls. This would be a much better and safer long entry, what he has illustrated here. I'll expand that in a minute. And so what you want to have is a change of character. And so by doing that, that would be by establishing a new higher low after a strong impulse back into the range. And so if you see that, I will flip back, he will flip back to a bullish outlook. If not, you still run a very high risk of this rejecting previous demand low that is now resistance and dumping into the single digits. And so there are much better entries than trying to catch something that is trending down. And so a break above the 200-day SMA and the 50-day SMA first. That's what we need to see. And so he would be long this back at 13 plus, but after breaking back into the range. And so he's not a perma bear nor bull, nor does he have a position. Just giving technical analysis from a volume price analysis, Wyckoфfian point of view. And so he's just hoping it's helpful because people are talking about it a lot, and honestly would like it to go up for you longs. We all want everybody to make money. We're all on the side of retail, and so his analysis here. You see this big spike in volume, so that's potentially a spring. And so what he would like to see is a continuation higher up into like the middle of this range, which would correspond with maybe like 14 to 1450, somewhere around there. And then if it does pull back to test, see a bounce, around $13.50, maybe $13. And if that holds, then that would be a better long entry, as he has illustrated, because this still could be rejected, come down, and then be in the single digits for quite some time. So just good to be cautious of that. This is another one that I'd be happy to follow up on. So let me know in the comments, in the chat, if you'd like me to do that. And then Tilray, I have already covered that. So I will focus more on the chat. I'll just pull up some of the other stuff. And so, John, I'm just going to move that so I can see what 80 is saying. When alt season ER, I'm not sure what ER means, but I think that, this is the beginning of alt season. I think that things are going to be running, and there's actually been talk about how we actually have been in alt season. It's just like not everything's running at once, that we see periodic rallies of different things. So, yeah, like, for example, do I think Dogecoin, if this loads, will be going to like $1? I think it very well could be. And this is potential, consolidation here before breakout. And I think that this could be going back to 50 cents or so, and potentially, $1 or so. But yeah. And, oh, sir, when alt season, sir. So, for me, like, I don't know when it is. What I do in Crypto Corner Stacker, and again, this is a little spreadsheet that I have in that. I talk about each week levels that I find as that I consider to be support levels that I find to be resistance. And then I also go over kind of like orders that I plan on placing. And I go over 20 different coins. Some of them, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the others are, alts, some meme coins, whatnot. And so I really just kind of like stack them. It's in all honesty, fairly boring. But that's just because, when, I don't know, but I think that it will be happening soon. I think that the bull market could actually extend into 2026, just because we've seen, the adoption on Wall Street. Also 401k involvement, and financial advisors and whatnot being able to recommend Bitcoin and stuff now. So I think it's just like there's this whole new mountain of capital flowing into crypto, and a lot of people have said that that alt season may be different because that capital is not necessarily going to flow to like meme coins and stuff like that, the altcoins that we really get this big alt season. But the reality is we're seeing more capital flowing into it. And, when retail sees that things are up, they're going to then flow in. That's probably, around Thanksgiving, maybe when people are talking with their uncles about stuff. And let's see what's Nick saying over here. What's up, AMC? It's starting to move finally. That's actually one I did want to mention, but I didn't want to go over too many tickers here. So yeah, AMC, this is one, it's like, I think for me, there's like a lot of psychology here, with all of the charts. And I'm not forgetting, by the way, I'm not forgetting about TE, SOUN, and Plug. I will go over those. But yeah, with AMC here, it did, hit a low yesterday of 279. I was expecting this to dump more. I was expecting it to gap down. I had bought some more. I'd added at 290. And then after seeing this hold at 279, it's like, well, I think that 280 is important. Free Wyckoff's also believes that that's an important level. And I think that there's a lot more weight to his analysis than mine. And so I then decided, well, I'll buy some more at 280. That hasn't been filled yet. And so it's just, it's faking us out. It's making us anxious. But yeah, I think things are looking pretty good. And he actually talked about how, wow, this is super cool. Like I'm actually going to pull up his I think I actually posted it on the channel. So, we're looking at things in different time frames. I posted this. It's gotten a couple likes, so that's nice. Nick, I'm just going to move your comment there. And so, went over this, and there is the chart here, and he points out in this, I don't know how well you guys can see it. Because I'd have to really zoom in, but he says volume is increasing there. What did I have drawn here? That volume's increasing. So that makes me really proud that I have been learning a lot more about this volume analysis. And he was suggesting it, drawing up parallels to what happened back in May, because leading up to this move, I guess what we saw, was a little bit of an increase in volume there, but it's kind of muted by the big spike there. So yeah, I think that, it's just good to understand what's going on with the vote on dilution. I think it's important that shareholders do vote yes, even though it's not ideal. Because if we don't vote yes, then AMC will basically be forced to do something like an APE 2.0. So yeah, I think this is looking great. And Nick is saying my DVNT holds, so nice work there. China, with Neo, I imagine. And no worries, you're good. Yeah. And let's see. And so I'm going to circle back to the other comments here. Let's see, from Worst Nightmare. Sorry for going so slow with this, but I will circle back. And let's see, TE. What is TE? T1 Energy. Energy is very interesting. And maybe after this, I will look at Plug and then SOUN. This is up so far in the day 24.5%. So very nice. A lot of volume behind it. And this move is persisting. So that's actually looking really good. I'm not sure what the news is on about it. I'm not going to dive into that. But let's see, looking at the 15-minute time frame, just got to fast forward so we can see. And so, yeah, it does look like, fairly sustained move up. Volume's been elevated throughout that. And now volume, it looks like it's died down a little bit. So this is either going to mean that it's getting exhausted and it's going to pull back, or that if it can hold up here as volume has decreased, that is what it's suggesting, that then this is just a cool off before it does continue higher. And so, the only thing I have to say about this is, like, if you think about a savings account where you get 4% APY per year, annual percentage yield per year, of course, per year, annual, getting a 25% move in a day is really, really nice. So don't take that for granted. It can reverse. So we got the 50-day SMA down here at 183. And also we do have the high over here on December 26th of last year. And that high was at a price of around 336 and prices above that. So what I guess I could see happening with this, if it is to, be sustained and continue higher, and actually, I'm just going to try to move that right up to the penny there. There we go, 36. What could happen is, and I might just do this so I can draw a little better, maybe it pulls back, finds that as support, and then goes higher. So that's a possibility, but it could also retrace more notably. As you know, this is the tippy top there. I think that a perhaps better level to find some support, maybe around 3, kind of split the difference between these two levels. The high over here was around 284. Then you have some overlap. And if we do lower that a little bit just to have some more consolidation highs there, that's around 265, somewhere around there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if it does pull back, but this move overall looks pretty healthy, and I think that it could be continuing for days in the future. However, speaking of health and whatnot, the RSI is currently at 83.91. That's definitely in the overbought territory. And so what could be happening is, like a cool off, as I have doodled here, maybe over the course of a week or two, forms a bull flag. And then when that RSI resets, when volume cools down a little bit, then you get another spike in volume, and then it goes on the next leg up. And so if, just kind of hypothetically, if it were to do what I've doodled there, let's just do a fib extension from the low here. I could maybe do the low from over here instead, but I'm just going to be approximate here, go up to the high. And then if it does pull back to this level, or, let's say worst case scenario, it pulls back to the low here, that's just going to be the same distance from the bottom to the top here, just taken from a lower level. So it's a little bit more conservative on, for approximating where the price could be going. And if we do look at that, I'm going to have to just scrunch this. That could be suggesting the 786 is around a price of 484. The 100% move, so the distance from here to here, taken from this point, that would be around 539. So, I mean, it could be going up to like $5. I could see that as being feasible, but it might take, a month or two to get up there. But yeah, that's a very interesting one. So thank you for sharing that. And because this is energy related, I will go over plug over here. It's still kind of, in the, range here. When I was doing the video, I think it was around 370. So around here, it was up, I think, 370, something like that. Did dip down to the 50%. So the low so far today was 335. And that actually did pierce this yellow line here, or nearly got to that yellow line here at 332. It did pierce the 50% at 338, and that yellow line over here corresponding with the high. So I think that could be acting as some support. So yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if the bottom is in there. Although what we see is, volume is still not super high. And so that could maybe be suggesting that this might consolidate for a little while before, get a surge in volume and it goes up. And so for me, I don't have any orders placed on plug. If it did come down to 3, because I'm not trying to get emotional about this one or anything, I'm not trying to get personally invested in it. But if it did come down to 3, I'd be interested more so at that point. But yeah, I mean, the bottom could be in though here with today's low of 335. So that's definitely possible. And, get another spike in volume, and this goes up to, it could be going up to 5. So yeah, I mean, like this, what was the time frame? How many candles over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Following that pullback, 5 candles of consolidation before it started to go higher. And so let's say these 2 candles, the red ones here, are like represented by this one here. And so we have 2 days over here. Maybe we have 3 more. So let's say Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then maybe Wednesday next week, it starts to move higher. But could be wrong about that. Not really sure. One thing though, to note, higher highs in the stock price, and the RSI does seem to have put in, like a double top. And so that is going to be like a weak bearish divergence. A bearish divergence would be higher highs in the stock price, lower highs in the RSI, and it's just flat tops. So that's going to be a weak bearish divergence. And then the other one that was requested is SOUN. So I'll pull that up, SoundHound AI. And yeah, I mean, I would definitely, because I was watching it at work, and I'm not personally in sound, so I wasn't paying too close attention to it. But I would definitely encourage checking out, let's see, how do I get back to the post tab? I would encourage checking out this video from Orlando and just going over the sound stuff there. But yeah, I mean, if we look at this over the past, couple years, like over here, this was, well, I guess that was just a year ago, a little over a year ago. It went up from here, 476%, and then a pretty big pullback, but still being up 55% to that low, and then back up here, 359%. But if we take it from the low here, that's up about 200%. So yeah, I mean, I think it could be getting exhausted, maybe pulling back to the 50 SMA. That's around 1461. What we do see here in the chart is we do have, a pretty long trend of higher highs. Approximate, doesn't really matter. It's just the trend there. And we don't really see, with these highs, the RSI has been pretty well extended. Over here, it hit 72.52. Over here, it hit 75.88. So definitely in the overbought territory. But then over here, 72.91, and then over here the high was 69.78, so it didn't even get to above 70s, and that's putting in higher highs. So that is starting to show some bearish divergence. Again, kind of like what I was talking about with Rivian, you see these big wicks to the upside and not able to, get closes above those highs. So it does seem like it is potentially getting weaker, and I could see a pullback to around like $15 from where it's at now, 1868. So yeah, a very interesting one to consider there. And let's see, I think I've gotten all of the chat caught up on those. And since I have gone about, 6-7 minutes over, and I do have to get headed to work soon, I'm probably going to end it there. But I would definitely encourage, check out the posts tab of the channel. Check out that Tilray video that I did. Vote in this poll. I might actually refresh this to see if anybody's voted in it yet. Nobody's voted in it yet. I did get one here. That from an earlier poll, I decided to add 2 silver packs to this one, but my goal is to collect. This one's an option to not collect. But yeah, anyways, thank you all so much for joining. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. And one thing I did want to point out, because I do see this from Worst Nightmare, is that stacking GameStop. So cheers to that. So, for me, I try to not be too aggressive. Actually, let's just end on the note of, let's explore some of the options data with GameStop. And I'll do this real quick. I don't have any contracts over here in the list that I was looking up at. So let's just go over to the flow. I'm going to reset this. Sorry if I'm going really fast, but not as fast as the moves here. But let's just type in GameStop up there, filter that then to a minimum premium of $100,000. And so we can see that it does seem like some calls, a lot of them on the bid side, so potentially bearish, potentially, being sold. But we can look at them, not necessarily looking at these specific contracts, but really to look at the data over here. We do see net call premium coming down. So actually, if I do expand this, hopefully it's just on the 1 day, but yep, it's on the 1 day. What we can see for GameStop is net call premium so far today is down over $6 million, while net put premium is effectively flat relative to that drop. Net put premium is up by $483,000. And so that does suggest that there's more selling of calls, and that is kind of reflected in the call orders being on the bid side, suggesting that this is bearish. So, well, good to be stacking when it's around 24. It might be coming lower to around 22. So I would just, have a plan for if that happens, and maybe don't get super aggressive just yet. But also better to be taking advantage of it at 24 than when it was at like 30 or whatever. But yeah, the percentage here, the bear bull slider, 68% on the bearish side. So do consider that. And it wasn't actually at 30. I misspoke. The high was 28.10. So much better to be stacking down here than up here. But it would be even better to be stacking the lows here around 22. But yeah, time will tell. As long as we're having fun, there's no problems there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be tomorrow. And I will probably have a Rivian video out tomorrow morning.